What if I told you you're not living in just one version of your life? You're jumping timelines right now without even knowing. And the reason everything feels like it resets, loops, slips through your fingers, it's not bad luck, it's not failure, it's frequency. You don't just move through time, you drift from one version of reality to another, pulled by the vibration you're unconsciously holding. Think about the last few weeks. Have you felt like something keeps repeating? A pattern, a feeling, a person, a struggle that just won't go away? Maybe you've tried to change. Maybe you've meditated, journaled, manifested. But something keeps snapping you back. It's like you keep waking up inside a life that doesn't fully feel like yours. That's not your imagination. That's a misaligned timeline. You're not broken. You're broadcasting the wrong signal, and the universe is just responding. The truth is, reality isn't fixed. It's fluid. It bends, flows, rearranges, based on your state of being. And if you've been feeling stuck or like something's off, but you can't name it, this isn't random. This is a glitch in your alignment, because timeline jumping is real. And you've been doing it your whole life, just not on purpose. Now here's the thing they don't tell you. Every time you feel lost, it's not because you made the wrong decision. It's because you made it from the wrong frequency. You are not just experiencing life. You are choosing with every breath which version of it you land in. And the scariest part? Most of us are doing that unconsciously, by default, by programming, by pain. But this video is not just another explanation, it's a portal. And by the time we finish, you'll understand why your life keeps looping and how to finally take the wheel. Because now, something deeper is waking up in you. A sense that it doesn't have to be this way. That maybe you're not stuck, you're just in the wrong timeline. And the moment you realize that, you get to change it. In the next section, we're going to peel back the fog that's been clouding your vision, the invisible field that keeps you jumping timelines without knowing. You'll see how emotional repetition isn't just habit, it's vibrational disorientation. Let's uncover the real reason why your life keeps looping, even when you try to break free. Shall we go deeper? The energetic fog that keeps you looping. There's something disorienting about trying so hard to change your life, only to wake up in the same emotional weather again and again. Different circumstances, same feeling, different people, same wound, different decisions, same outcome. And maybe you've asked yourself in silence, how can I be doing the work but still feel stuck? How can someone meditate, visualize, journal, cleanse, and still feel like life is on repeat? Because here's the hidden layer no one warned you about. You're jumping timelines, but it's not alignment, it's fog, energetic fog. It's what happens when your conscious mind wants change, but your emotional frequency is still vibrating with old data. You move, but you loop. And looping isn't stagnation. Looping is movement without direction. You feel exhausted, not because you're weak, but because you've been energetically spinning through realities without clarity. And that fog, it's not out there, it's within. Pause for a second. Have you noticed how quickly life seems to reset after a breakthrough? You feel hope, something clicks, and then, like clockwork, you're pulled back into a version of yourself that doesn't fit anymore. That's the fog. It's vibrational misalignment disguised as bad timing or life being unfair. But in truth, it's your subconscious broadcasting unresolved patterns across dimensions. Let me explain. Every timeline you jump into is not chosen by your intentions alone. It's chosen by your state. And if your dominant emotional frequency is confusion, guilt, resentment, or fear, even your most beautiful desires get filtered through static. You see, clarity isn't a thought. Clarity is a vibration. And when you're unclear, the universe doesn't pause. It just mirrors the chaos, not as punishment, as precision. But what if the most powerful truth was hiding where you never thought to look. Not in the affirmations, not in the rituals, but in the emotional signals you haven't learned to decode. Because the real pain isn't just looping through the same outcomes. It's realizing you've been living out alternate versions of your life. The ones where you were almost aligned, but not quite. The ones where you feel like you're getting close, but something invisible keeps pulling you off course. Here's the process. That energetic fog, it's generated by miscommunication between your conscious intentions and your emotional signature. It's like having the GPS set to destination joy, but the engine's still tuned to fear of abandonment. And this dissonance creates a drift, a jump into realities that resemble your desires, but don't fulfill them. A timeline that looks right, but feels hollow. A life that checks the boxes, but drains the soul. So what do? We start by understanding that this fog isn't personal, it's programmable, and more importantly, it's reversible. Because behind the fog, there's a frequency waiting, one that matches who you're becoming, not who you've been pretending to be. Let's go further. We'll explore now why timeline jumping isn't magic or wishful thinking, but a science of vibration. You'll begin to understand how quantum physics explains the shifts you've been feeling all along, and why they haven't felt sustainable yet. Ready to see what's really behind the curtain? Timeline. Jumping isn't magic, it's physics of frequency. Most people hear the term timeline jumping and imagine something mystical, like teleporting into another version of reality with a snap of the fingers. But what if I told you it's much more grounded than that? Timeline jumping isn't magic. It's resonance, it's vibration, it's physics, and it's happening inside your field every single day. Let me give you a deeper lens. In quantum physics, there's something called the collapse of the wave function. It means that, until observed, reality exists in a state of pure potential. Infinite outcomes, all coexisting in a quantum field. But the moment you observe it, the moment you choose, focus, feel, that field collapses into a single reality. Not because the other options disappeared, but because you tuned into a specific frequency that called one into form. Joe Dispenza says it simply, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. It's not your wishes that decide your timeline, it's your signal. And your signal is built from your beliefs, your emotions, your expectations, and the unspoken narratives looping underneath your thoughts. Imagine for a moment that every possible version of your life, the joyful one, the painful one, the stagnant one, the expansive one, is playing like a radio station right now. They're all there. But the one you experience is the one you're emotionally tuned into. So when you feel like you keep ending up in timelines that don't match your intentions, it's not because you're blocked or cursed or behind. It's because you're broadcasting the frequency of a version of you that no longer aligns with your becoming. Here's where it gets more subtle. You might think you're aligned because you're doing all the right things. You're visualizing, you're journaling, you're setting intentions, but frequency isn't just what you do. It's what you embody when you're not doing anything. It's the quiet, emotional residue that lingers in your body when the rituals are over. It's the way you breathe when no one's watching. It's the energy that enters a room before you speak. And that's what activates the quantum field. Let me give you an example. Say you want to experience more freedom in your life, but deep down, you're still carrying the vibration of, I don't deserve ease, or I always have to earn my worth. You might visualize freedom all day, but the field reads your emotional code and responds accordingly. Because in the quantum world, what you feel is what you choose. So let's ground this. Timeline jumping is real, but it's not something you force. It's something you allow by shifting your frequency into coherence. When your mind, your body, your emotions, and your energy start speaking the same language, reality bends. And here's the part no one talks about. You've jumped timelines before. Every moment you had a deep realization, a full-body surrender, a life-altering decision that shifted your entire path. That was a jump, not random, not magic, physics. And now you're remembering how to do it consciously. Let's go even deeper. In the next chapter, we'll explore the seductive trap of the spiritual loop, where it looks like you're evolving, but you're really just dressing up the same frequency in prettier words. We'll uncover how to spot false progress and begin real energetic integration, because sometimes the most elegant timeline is just a more decorated loop. Be careful with the spiritual loop that imitates evolution. There's a moment in every seeker's journey where growth begins to feel performative. You listen to the podcasts, you light the candles, you speak in affirmations, you post the quotes. You know the language of awakening, but somehow your life still feels like it's echoing the same lesson. Different words, same energy. You're evolving on the surface, but recycling underneath. This is the spiritual loop, and it's one of the most subtle timelines to get trapped in, because it feels like you're moving forward, but emotionally, energetically, vibrationally, you're circling the same unresolved point. Let me give you an image. Imagine a maze with walls made of books, crystals, vision boards, and mantras. It looks wise, it feels safe, but it has no exit. Because you're not actually walking out of the wound, you're decorating it. And this isn't about blame, it's about awareness. Because many of us use spiritual tools to soothe the ego, but not to integrate the shadow. We learn to regulate, but not to transmute. We learn to appear aligned without embodying alignment. Pause for a moment. Have you noticed yourself chasing practices like prescriptions, trying the next modality, the next healer, the next vibration technique, without truly feeling different inside? That's not progress. That's displacement. Now let me tell you a story. Her name is Diane. She's 52, works in human resources, divorced 3 years ago, loves reading about astrology and energy work, has shelves of spiritual books, follows all the right people, knows how to talk about boundaries, chakras, vibrational shifts, but inside she feels numb, tired in a way that rest doesn't fix. She tells herself she's healing, that every meditation is a step forward. But in the quiet, in the raw silence between tasks and teachings, something still hurts. Not loudly, not enough to collapse, just enough to feel like she's always slightly off course. She avoids conflict, but absorbs tension. She gives more than she has, but tells herself it's compassion. She rarely cries, but feels everything too deeply, and sometimes, just sometimes, she wonders, why do I still feel invisible, even in my own life? Diane isn't broken. She's in a loop, a spiritual one, where she's using tools to cope, but not to transform. She's evolving on paper, but her body still holds the energy of the woman who felt like love had to be earned. And until that frequency is met with full presence, not performance, the loop continues. Now maybe you know a Diane. Or maybe some part of you is her. This is not a judgment, it's a reflection. Because the spiritual loop is seductive, it keeps us busy with healing without asking us to be radically honest. Here's how to start noticing. Ask yourself, in the past 21 days, what emotion has been the most dominant in your body? Not the most visible, not the most intellectualized, the most felt. That's your frequency. That's the timeline you're aligned with. And no amount of spiritual language will override that signal. We go further now. In the next section, we'll uncover how dopamine, the brain's pleasure signal, hijacks your timeline alignment. You'll see why your nervous system is drawn to chaos even when your soul is craving peace, and how to begin recalibrating your internal compass. Because not everything that feels good leads to expansion. How dopamine confuses your timeline direction. There's a reason you feel pulled in so many directions, even when your intention is clear. A reason why, even after a moment of clarity or peace, something inside you chases the next distraction. And it's not because you're undisciplined. It's because your brain is addicted to the rush. Dopamine, the neurochemical of pursuit, of reward, of stimulation. It's what makes you check your phone 5 times in a row, knowing nothing new is there. It's what makes you scroll instead of feel. Reach instead of rest. Perform instead of pause. And here's the part no one connects. Dopamine isn't just hijacking your focus, it's hijacking your vibration. Because every time you chase micro-validations, the likes, the replies, the hits of approval, the surface-level wins, your frequency gets fragmented. Your timeline becomes reactive, not responsive, chaotic, not coherent. You start jumping into versions of your life that were never designed for your soul, just your nervous system. Let me explain. Your body, when overstimulated, begins to prioritize immediacy over alignment. It seeks intensity, novelty, anything but stillness. Stillness feels like death to a dopamine-wired brain, but to the soul, stillness is where the shift begins. This is why so many people feel burned out, even when their lives look better. They've upgraded the surface, but never slowed the system. They're timeline hopping without awareness, pulled not by purpose, but by programming. And here's where it gets deeper. We often confuse movement with progress, but sometimes the fastest way to realign is to stop. Pause now. Breathe into that space. Notice what your body does in silence. Notice the fidgeting, the thoughts, the urge to move on. That's not you being weak. That's your nervous system detoxing from stimulation. That's your field begging for coherence. Let me offer a realignment, a vibrational fast, not from food, but from noise, from unnecessary input, from digital loops, from the constant need to know, respond, update, consume. Even a 24-hour intentional slowdown can recalibrate your trajectory. It won't feel exciting, but it will feel honest. And that's the beginning of a new signal. You see, timeline alignment isn't a high, it's a harmony. And the more you let go of false urgency, the more clearly you begin to feel your soul's direction again. Because peace is not passive, it's potent. It's the vibration your future self already lives in. And she's waiting for you there, but not in the noise. We're about to reconnect something sacred. In the next chapter, we'll begin to listen again, not with logic, but with vibration. You'll learn to sense the soul echo, the subtle but powerful pull that's been trying to guide you back to yourself all along, because alignment doesn't shout, it whispers. And now, you're quiet enough to hear it, the soul echo that's trying to guide you back. There are moments in life that don't make noise, they hum. Moments when something inside you tightens, but you don't know why. When your chest feels heavy for no clear reason. When your dreams start repeating the same symbol. When a place, a sound, a memory you can't name, moves something inside you. That's not coincidence. That's a soul echo, a vibrational nudge, a frequency pulling you toward the timeline that matches your essence, not your performance. And when you ignore it, it doesn't disappear. It just gets louder in quieter ways. Anxiety, restlessness, sudden irritation with the life you thought you wanted. Those aren't symptoms of failure. They're guidance systems. They're signs that the version of you you're currently living is out of sync with the version of you that's waiting. Let me give you a picture. Imagine your soul walking ahead of you. Confident, clear, in rhythm. But your mind is lagging behind, holding on to the past, dragging emotional weight that was never yours. Every time you feel the disconnect, that's the space between them. That's the gap between who you've become and who you truly are. You're not lost, you're late, but your soul never stops calling. Edgar Cayce once said that dreams are the language of the soul. They carry vibrations too complex for waking logic. Pay attention to the ones that linger, not the ones that scare you, but the ones that make you feel seen, because often the signs you've been waiting for are not in the sky, but in your sleep. In the symbols your subconscious keeps drawing, in the synchronicities that seem too specific to be random, in the gut feelings that don't come with proof, but always come with truth. Now, pause for a moment. If you were to ask yourself right now, which version of me is trying to reach me, what would come up? Don't overthink, don't edit, just ask. This is not a performance, it's a remembering. Here's something you can try tonight, before sleep. Take a blank page and let your hand write, not your mind. Write to the version of you that feels distant, but not gone. The one who laughs more, breathes deeper, loves without fear. Ask her, what did I forget? And wait. Words may come, or just a feeling. That's enough. That's alignment beginning again. Now, if you've made it this far into the video, thank you. Your presence here is not a small thing. It means something in you knows. You're not here for content. You're here for calibration. Take a moment right now and tell us in the comments if this message touched something inside you. Have you ever felt this soul echo, this pull back to a truer version of yourself? Share your experience, not just for you, but because your story might unlock something in someone else. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, not just to follow, but to remember, to walk with others who are also waking up, gently, powerfully, and fully, because we're not just a channel, we're a field, a frequency. Let's continue. In the next section, you'll receive a step-by-step energetic process to realign with your true timeline, a practice not based in theory, but in vibration. We'll guide you through how to anchor that future self and hold it, even when life gets loud again. Let's make this shift real. Quantum practice, anchoring the right timeline. Change isn't something you force, it's something you inhabit. And to jump timelines with intention, you need more than knowledge. You need embodiment. Because if your mind envisions one reality, but your body still vibrates with fear, guilt, or resistance, the field doesn't respond to the thought. It responds to the incoherence. So how do you shift into coherence? Here's the process. Step 1. Clarity. Not the kind that lives in your head, the kind that settles in your bones. Who is the version of you that already lives in the timeline you desire? What does she believe? How does she move? What does she no longer tolerate? This isn't about fantasy, it's about frequency. You're not imagining someone else. You're remembering a version of you that already exists in the quantum field, waiting for resonance. Write down 3 core traits she carries. Make them sensory. Does she feel grounded, playful, unbothered? Does she walk slowly or with urgency? What does her voice sound like when she says no? Now breathe that in. Let it live in your nervous system. Step 2. Sensory rehearsal. This isn't fake it till you make it. It's feel it to become it. Every day, even for just 5 minutes, let yourself enter her timeline. Close your eyes, feel her mornings, see the spaces she inhabits, hear how she speaks, smell the air around her. This is not visualization. This is neurological rehearsal. You are building a new pathway in your brain, one that your body begins to trust. Bruce Lipton teaches that repetition plus elevated emotion rewires the subconscious. It creates a new energetic signature. So you don't just imagine the timeline, you code it. Step 3. Micro choices daily, intentionally. Alignment doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives in subtle decisions. What you eat, who you reply to, how long you scroll, what time you go to sleep. Whether you pause before reacting, Each of those moments is a fork in your timeline, and every time you choose with presence, you shift. Let me offer a ritual. Tonight, write one sentence. I choose to inhabit the version of me who already lives in peace. Then take one small symbolic action within 24 hours. It could be donating something that no longer fits who you are, turning off your phone for a full hour, saying no with kindness but firmness. Anything that signals to your field, the shift is real, because timelines don't just respond to vision, they respond to embodiment, even in chaos, even in grief, even in transition, especially in transition. Let's take a breath here. You've come far. You've remembered the fog. You've decoded the illusion of false evolution. You've quieted the noise of distraction. You've heard your soul whispering back. Now, let's take this all the way. In the final chapter, we'll complete the loop, not with more doing, but with deeper being. You'll understand why reality doesn't happen to you. It streams through you, and that changes everything. Reality doesn't happen to you. It streams through you. There's a quiet truth most people never realize. You are not a receiver of reality. You are a transmitter, a generator, a conductor. Reality doesn't arrive from the outside. It streams through the signal you sustain on the inside. Think about that. The world you're experiencing right now, the people, the patterns, the synchronicities, isn't just happening to you. It's being filtered, organized, and shaped by the emotional code you carry, and that means something powerful. If you've been living in confusion, your field has been broadcasting chaos. If you've been living in self-doubt, your reality has been mirroring hesitation. If you've been living in a loop, your signal has been stuck on replay. But the moment your frequency changes, the stream changes, not gradually, not with time, instantly. Because the quantum field doesn't need time to organize. It needs clarity, it needs coherence, it needs you, fully present, fully embodied, fully aligned. So here's the shift. You're not trying to manifest, you're not trying to force, you're not trying to fix, you're remembering. You're remembering that you are the stream. The moment you let go of proving, chasing, performing, and return to coherence, your reality reconfigures. Because energy speaks before action. Vibration decides before words. Presence shapes outcomes. Take a breath. Let that land. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not broken. You're just learning how to hold your own signal, long enough for the world to catch up. And when you do, when you hold peace, when you embody truth, when you stabilize joy, you don't just change your life. You change your line of time. You jump into the version of existence where alignment is natural, where support appears, where synchronicities become normal, where healing doesn't have to hurt, because the reality that's waiting for you isn't somewhere far away. It's right here, already encoded inside you. All it needs is resonance. So let's close this chapter with a breath. Feel your own presence right now. Feel the stillness beneath the thoughts. That's not silence, that's creation, because you are not at the mercy of the external world. You are the field that transforms what vibrates around you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for walking this path with us, through fog, through friction, through remembering. If this video resonated with you, let us know in the comments. What part of this journey did you recognize in your own life? Your words could shift someone else's timeline too. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, not just to follow, but to walk together, to be part of a community that remembers who we are. Like this video if it touched something in you. And don't stop here. The next video, you think it's fate, but it's just the wrong timeline, will take you even deeper into this journey. Because you're not just watching content. You're tuning your field, and the shift has already begun.